She was beautiful, ambitious, and hungry for more than the village could offer. Folake had real love, but she traded it for sequin dresses and champagne nights with men whose names she barely remembered. She humiliated the man who starved himself to send her money. She chased the glitter and nearly lost her life to it. When a stranger's phone call revealed the truth, that she was already sold, she ran. She ran with nothing but her tears and the desperate hope that Tumi would still be waiting. But some doors, once closed, never reopen. Watch till the very end. You won't see this coming. She was already running when the tears hit her face. Folake's feet slapped the red earth road, her sandals barely holding on, her wrapper coming loose at the waist. The bush on either side blurred past her. Her chest was on fire. Her throat was raw. She didn't know if Morris's men were behind her. She didn't stop to check. All she knew was Tumi. Tumi's face. Tumi's voice. Tumi, who had always been there. She just needed to reach him, and everything would be okay. It had to be. She had no idea she was already too late. 6 months earlier, Folake's biggest problem was that her wrapper kept slipping at the community water tap. She lived in Okoto, a small, dust-breathing village outside Abeokuta, where the roads turned to mud in rainy season and Nipa took the light every other evening like it was scheduled entertainment. Life there was slow, loud in a familiar way, and deeply uncomplicated. Folake had grown up fetching water, helping her mother pound yam, and sitting outside under the mango tree in the evenings watching the sun melt into the hills. It was a life she knew. But even as a child, it had never felt like enough. Tumi knew that about her. He had always known. He came to find her at the tap that afternoon, his shirt damp from the welding work he had been doing since dawn. He was not a man with much to show, no car, no generator, no land of his own yet, but there was something in the way Tumi moved through the world that made people trust him. He was steady. Deliberately, quietly steady. Jam result is out, he said, without greeting. He was watching her face. Folake's hands stilled on the bucket handle. Her eyes found his. I passed, she whispered. He grabbed her before she could say another word, lifting her off the ground while she screamed with laughter, the bucket clattering to the ground, water spilling across the red earth. The women at the tap clapped. A small boy nearby started cheering because everyone else was. That night, sitting outside her mother's compound with a lantern between them, they talked until the village went quiet. Folake spoke about Lagos, the university, the buildings, the possibilities, with a hunger so bright it was almost painful to look at. Tumi watched her and said nothing for a long time. I don't have money, he finally said. You know that. I know. But whatever I have, I'll give you. All of it. She reached across the lantern and held his hand. I'm not going anywhere, Tumi. Lagos is just school. I'm coming back to you. He believed her. He had no reason not to. The first month in Lagos nearly swallowed Folake whole. The campus was enormous. The noise was a living thing, generators roaring, music bleeding from hostels at midnight, bikes weaving between cars, vendors shouting over each other at the gate. Everything was fast. Everyone seemed to already know the rules of a game she had never been taught. She called Tumi every night from her bunkmate's phone, her voice small, and he talked her through it every single time. He told her jokes. He reminded her why she was there. He sent the little money he scraped together with a consistency that shamed men who earned triple what he did. Then second semester came. Her roommate, Shade, was the kind of girl who wore perfume to lectures and owned 3 different phones. Shade did not ask Folake where she was from. She simply looked at her one evening and said, "That bag is not working for you, babe." 2 weeks later, Folake had a new bag. She was not sure, later, exactly how Shade had arranged it. She told herself it was just a bag. Then it was a dress. Then a party. Then another party, this one at a duplex in Victoria Island where the boys arrived in Benzes and the girls wore things that cost more than her school fees. Folake stood near the wall at first, holding a drink she did not finish, watching. By midnight, she was dancing. By the end of the month, she had a contact saved in her phone as Big G. She did not call Tumi that night. Or the next. When she finally called, she kept the conversation short. He noticed. She told him she was busy, which was true, just not in the way he understood. He said he had sold his small generator to send her money for textbooks. She said thank you. She meant it less than she used to. The shame came at night mostly. In the mornings, it was easier to put on the new earrings and walk to class like the person she was slowly, steadily becoming. The strike arrived without warning, the way disasters often do. ASUU declared, the campus erupted, and within 48 hours the gates were locked and students were scattering in every direction. Folake packed her things. She had no choice. She was going home. The drive back to Okoto took 4 hours and felt like descending through time. The roads narrowed. The buildings shrank. The generator hum gave way to cricket sound. By the time the bus dropped her at the junction, her jaw was tight in a way she did not recognize in herself. Tumi came to meet her. He had walked 40 minutes in the afternoon heat because he wanted to carry her bag. She looked at him, really looked, and felt something she was not proud of. He was wearing a faded blue shirt she had seen him wear before. His shoes were cracked at the toe. He was grinning at her like she was everything he had been waiting for, which she was, which somehow made it worse. You look different, he said, still smiling. Legos will do that, she said. She let him carry her bag. She did not hold his hand the way she used to. In the days that followed, Tumi tried. He tried in every small, earnest way he knew. He brought her corn from the market. He sat with her in the evenings. He told her about the contract he was saving toward, a small building project that could change things for him. He spoke carefully, like someone who knew the ground had shifted but could not yet see the crack. Folake found herself impatient with his voice. His dreams felt too small for the space she now occupied in her own mind. One evening, when he talked about how they could build something together in the village after she finished school, she looked at him over the lantern and said, "I'm not planning to come back to the village, Tumi." The silence that followed was the loudest thing between them. "Then I'll go where you go," he said quietly. She didn't answer. That was its own kind of answer. When her mother asked her one morning why she was treating that good boy so coldly, Folake said, "Mama, you won't understand." She said it without cruelty, which was almost worse. Maurice showed up on a Thursday. He came in an SUV with tinted windows and drove slowly down the main road like he was inspecting property. By evening, he was seated under the tree at Baba Son's shop, drinking cold malt and speaking in a low, confident voice to whoever would listen. He was not exactly young, not exactly old, somewhere in that smooth, unhurried middle age that money sometimes buys. His watch caught the light. His shoes were spotless despite the red dust. The village had seen men like this before. Men who passed through, distributed a little attention, and disappeared. But Maurice stayed. And Maurice noticed Folake. He sent his driver with a message the second day. He wanted to greet her. Just to greet. Folake was suspicious enough to tell her friend Kemi about it, and bold enough to go anyway. They met at the shop. He bought her a drink. He asked about her school, her ambitions, her plans. He listened in that particular way that men with money sometimes learn, leaning slightly forward, nodding at the right moments, making you feel like what you are saying is the most important thing in the room. By the time the drink was finished, Folake was talking about Legos, about what she wanted her life to look like, about how much she hated feeling stuck. "You're not stuck," Maurice said. "You're just undiscovered." He described an opportunity abroad. "Administrative work," he said. "Good salary. Legitimate company," he said. "Papers handled. Flight covered." He had done it for other young women. He could do it for her. "Why me?" she asked. He smiled. "Because you have the right kind of hunger." She told herself she was just listening. She told herself she had not decided anything. But that night, she lay on her mat and thought about the duplex in Victoria Island and the girls with 3 phones and the life she had tasted and could not untaste, and she thought, why not me? She did not tell Tumi. She did not tell her mother. She told herself there was nothing to tell yet. For days later, she was packed. Maurice had been careful, thorough, and unhurried. He gave her a folder with papers she did not fully read. He told her to be ready early Friday morning. He told her not to mention it to anyone because of visa complications, because of jealous people, because the company was private and security conscious. The explanations stacked neatly on top of each other, and she accepted each one. Thursday night, she could not sleep. She got up to use the bathroom and passed the room where Maurice and his driver were staying with one of the village men who rented out rooms. The door was not fully closed. She heard Maurice's voice, low and sharp in a way she had never heard before, and she stopped. She should have kept walking. She stayed. She's the last one. Flight is Friday night. Tell him the arrangement is the same as the Lagos too. Payment on arrival, balance when the papers are signed over. A pause. She doesn't know. They never know. That's the whole point. The world tilted. Folake stood in the dark hallway and felt her blood leave her face. Her hand found the wall. She did not breathe. The voice behind the door continued, something about a contact in Eastern Europe, something about documentation, and she stopped hearing the words because her body had already understood what her mind was still refusing. She was the product. She was what was being sold. She went back to her room. Her hands were shaking so badly she could not button her blouse. She did not make a sound. She packed her most necessary things into a smaller bag, moved through the compound like smoke, slipped out the back entrance, and she ran. She ran through the dark, past the farms, past the church, past the junction where the buses stopped. She did not know if he would come after her. She ran like the answer to that question did not matter. She ran toward the only person she had ever been fully safe with. The light was beginning to come up over the rooftops when she reached Tumi's compound. She was out of breath, her wrapper torn at the edge, her sandal strap broken. She had been crying for so long her face felt tight. She knocked on the gate, once, twice, called his name. Her voice was cracked and small, and nothing like the voice she had been perfecting in Lagos. The gate opened. It was not Tumi. A woman stood in the early morning light, wrapped in a housecloth, her expression moving quickly from alarm to caution. She was pretty in a quiet, unadorned way, the kind of pretty that does not require announcement. "I'm looking for Tumi," Folake said. "Is he here?" "He is," the woman said carefully. "Can I ask who you are?" Before Folake could answer, she heard his footsteps. She had always recognized them. Tumi appeared behind the woman, his face moving through surprise, recognition, and something much harder to name, something that was not anger, not warmth, not the open relief she had been running toward. Folake. His voice was level. She looked at him. He was wearing a clean, fitted shirt. There was a vehicle in the compound behind him. He looked rested in a way she remembered him never being, back when he was selling generators to send her money. "Tumi." Her voice broke on the word. "I need you. I'm in trouble. I'm sorry, I know she stopped. Started again. I was wrong. I was so wrong, and there was a man, he was going to, she could not order the sentences. Everything was coming out in pieces. I need help. I need you." He looked at her for a long time. Not coldly. Not with satisfaction. With the particular stillness of someone who has already grieved a thing and come out the other side. "Are you safe?" he asked. "Right now, are you safe?" "Yes. I think yes." "Good." He nodded. "Then come inside. We'll get you water, and you can tell me what happened. I'll help you sort it out." She stepped inside. The woman, his fiancée, Folake understood now without needing to be told, quietly moved to the kitchen. Tumi sat across from her at a small table and waited while she gathered herself. "You're doing well," she finally said, looking around the compound. It was not an accusation. Just an observation that cost her something to make. "I worked for it," he said simply. She nodded. Her eyes were burning again. "Who is she?" "Someone who saw me when I had nothing and stayed anyway." The sentence landed without decoration. Folake absorbed it. "I was ashamed of you," she said. It was the truest thing she had said in months, maybe years. "I was ashamed and stupid, and I am so sorry." "I know," he said. He said it without cruelty and without comfort. Just truth. "Do you hate me?" He thought about it honestly, which was worse than a quick answer would have been. "No, I don't hate you. But Folake, what we had is gone. You didn't lose it today. You lost it in Lagos, a little at a time, every time you chose something else. I mourned it then. I'm not mourning it now. She pressed her hands flat on the table to keep them from shaking. I thought you'd wait. I waited long enough to know you weren't coming back. Then I learned to live. He paused. When I loved you, I was poor. You were ashamed of me. I learned something from that. I learned to value people who value me. She does. I won't trade that. Folake stood. There was nothing else to say. The fiancé came back with a cup of water and set it on the table without hostility, without triumph. Just quietly, the way someone does when they are secure in what they have. I'll call someone to help you with what happened, Toomey said. You should report it. Don't let that man keep doing it to other girls. She nodded. She picked up the water and drank it slowly. It was the most ordinary, human moment she had experienced in longer than she could measure. Just water, just morning light, just the simple sound of birds starting up outside. She left before the village fully woke. She walked slowly this time. There was no running left in her. The road back was the same red earth road she had always known. The mango trees were the same. The hills were the same. But she moved through it as someone stripped of everything she had convinced herself she needed, and what remained underneath was just her, smaller and truer, and aching in a way she suspected would take a long time to stop. She finally understood. Not the understanding that visits you with a lesson and leaves. The understanding that settles into your bones and stays. The kind that does not let you forget what you traded, or why, or what it actually cost. The man who had once gone hungry to help her rise had risen on his own. And the heart she had treated like a backup plan had finally, quietly, closed its doors. Some things cannot be recovered once you have let them go. Not because the other person is cruel, but because life continues, even when you are not watching. Even when you are chasing something else. Even when you are certain, foolishly certain, that what you left behind will simply wait. It will not wait. It never does.